Hello everyone, my name is Ashu Goel, I'm the CEO of WinWire, and it's my pleasure to invite Ganesh Iyer, Prakash Iyer, and Sai to the panel. Please, come on in. Just four of us, Great, thank you. So again, we are really excited to talk about something slightly different than I think what you guys have been hearing so far. It's more around innovation in the changing world. What are the different things going on? As I said, my name is Ashu Goel. I'm the CEO of WinWire. We are a data-driven digital engineering firm started in 2007, and really helping organizations solve complex problems and challenges and stay competitive in today's world. We have a fantastic panel with me over here that I'm super excited to have with me over here. Ganesh Iyer, to my right, is the EVP, MD, and Global CIO at NIO, a top electric vehicle company. He's also the former CIO of Tesla. I have next to him is Prakash Iyer, Senior Vice President of Trimble, which is a software, hardware, and services technology company that supports global industries in construction, agriculture, and transportation. As you can imagine, very, very relevant in today's day and age. He's also responsible for Trimble Ventures, which is the investing arm. The last person I have with me is Sai Vajha, who's the VP of Digital Transformation at Excelsis, which is a genomic-based drug discovery company focused on cancer treatment. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Before we get started, I want to just quickly frame the conversation that we're going to be having over here. There are many different ways we can go. What I thought, since we only have 30 minutes, and I know we are running late as well, is to really focus around three core areas. Around people, on the impact of the changing world and how innovation is impacting and is getting impacted by people. Talk about technology. I think in this group, we certainly want to talk a little bit about technology and how we are leveraging it. And changing business models. I think you hear a lot around technology, but if you really take a look at it, there is a significant innovation going on right now around business models, and different things are getting exploited and used. These are all really thought-provoking areas, and we can talk about it for a long time. But as I said, we have a short time, so we're going to get started. But I have requested my esteemed panelists to stay back after the session is over and be available in case any of you have any questions that you want to ask and dive deeper into it. So with that, let's get started. I want to start with Prakash and talk around people. As we know, there's been a lot of discussion around back to work, right? Questions around productivity, what should we be doing? I think there is a different angle to it, and I want to explore that, which is around its impact on innovation. How are we leveraging the new realities and what is getting impacted in this changing world as people are separate, different people working from different areas? How is it impacting innovation, both in the medium term and in the long run, and how are you seeing it? So Prakash, if you want to spend some time on it. Maybe use the mic.
Okay, I'll use this. Thank you. So it's a very, very interesting and important question, because I think one of the things many of you here, there are many probably CEOs, CIOs in the audience, might have realized in the pandemic, prior to the pandemic, or when the pandemic just started, people were wondering what's going to happen to the productivity. The productivity is going to go down because people are going to be working from home, and they're not going to be able to do the same level of work they were used to doing. But I think at least in the industries that we are in, it was quite a surprise for Trimble, definitely that I'm with Trimble, that the productivity started, surprisingly it's gone up during that time. And that was a mystery for many. And one of the reasons I think is because, the innovations happen, the old adage of necessity is the mother of invention. People started finding ways better to do better work without being in a physical space. In Trimble especially, we were already used to it because Trimble is spread out throughout the world. And so we never had a sort of one place where everybody, even within a team, whether it's in construction, agriculture, transportation, worked from one location. So that practice of being able to work as a team, yet being separate from a physical location, I think in a way prepared us better prepared us to kind of face something like this. So I think more and more what I'm seeing is companies they looked at this and see how can we now, of course, a lot of people suffered because, they were working long hours. There were no more 9 to 5 kind of timing or morning or evening meetings were all the time, through Zoom or whatever. So I think companies are innovating ways to make that easier for people. So that is, generally the sort of high-tech the environment that we all are in. But I've seen this also happening in other areas. So for example, we are in the transportation business. In transportation, for example, this has been coming for a long time. There is a scarcity of drivers. And that's a problem because the young generation don't want to become truck drivers, right? So we have to innovate to make sure the existing drivers, their lives are better when they drive. So things like driver safety and driver assistance are sort of coming up as innovation in that sector. Same goes for construction or agriculture. So I think, short term or medium term, these are sort of incremental, sustainable innovations. Long term, I see a lot of disruptive innovations happening in this space.
Great, thanks, Prakash. Ganesh, if you could add on to it.
You can keep it. Hello. Yeah. It's a great question, Ashu. So those of you who are not familiar with NEO, it's a smart electric vehicle. We are headquartered in Shanghai, in China, and in Europe, our design, and then I lead the research and development center here in San Jose. As a matter of fact, the pandemic has accelerated the innovation from my perspective and my company's perspective. While all of us around the world have been working from wherever we have been working from, we delivered next generation technology for our next set of vehicle products. For example, to date we have delivered over 225,000 smart EVs, and out of which more than 100,000 vehicles new set of vehicle products have been innovated during the pandemic period. While everybody has been invisible, working from their home offices or even remote locations. So this pandemic has given additional, a different angle, different twist to people and leaders to innovate differently, still, delivering the products to their customers and the stakeholders.
Great, thank you.
And coming to life sciences, right? I mean, I do agree with Prakash and Ganesh, but however, if you look into specifically the research side of biotech, there is a lot of hand-holding we need to do, like from an equipment and the lab instrumentation. There is some kind of a support that is needed, and we saw some kind of a decline in that kind of innovation in that space. So we had to actually encourage some of the on-site presence to actually move that kind of innovation forward. But in other areas, yes, I do see that there is that optimization happened through hybrid and some kind of remote working. But if you also think about on the employee experience, the collaboration aspects were a little bit dented that I found. And like for example, right, like hallway conversations, and also thinking about some of these meetings that could have solved in like a minute with a quick chat versus blocking probably 30 minutes of time and finding when they're available. Those are some things that we felt there is something that we could have done faster. But overall, we had to provide some kind of a high touch to the research area, but in other areas we were able to manage that. So we encouraged our team to come more in-person collaboration to foster that kind of innovation, Ashu.
Yeah, and as you heard, I think there are different ways people are approaching it. I think there's not going to be one size fit all. I think that's clearly the scenario. Not one particular scenario that's going to work for everyone. And we are seeing, as we talk to the leaders around the world, we are seeing everybody's experimenting. I don't think we have the right answer. And to be honest, we don't expect it to. We are used to a model that's been working for 60, 70, 80 years as we moved into the industrial age and then information age. I think changing it is going to take some time. And I think we'll start to see more impact of that, both positive or negative, as we evolve. So, but I agree. Thank you. Building on that, as one of the things that I find around technology is the pace of technological changes are coming at faster and faster pace. I think the session before us was talking about it. They were talking about leveraging new models. So that pace is increasing and we are seeing a bunch of changes going on. How do you balance sort of the innovation with the need to stay competitive and focus on sort of the quarterly numbers that we are so driven by? I think that would be great to hear. How do you think about it at an organizational level? How do you think about it at a team level? Would love to hear, Saeed.
Yeah, one thing is, as you know, in a biotech environment where we are serving our patient community, it is, and also I'm from the oncology space, as you know, the overall survival aspects are quite shorter. So when we look into some of these metrics like progression-free survival of those disease itself and the quality of life, we need to act so quick to get to that kind of new targetable drug candidates so that we can do that kind of clinical development, get to the patients quicker. So there is that kind of a sense of urgency, but then there is vast amount of data available. Mr. Devagan in the previous session was talking about some of those high performance computing that you can bring to accelerate that science, but we need to be really targeting the right solution. Even there are some publications that are available out there, a lot of things that were available, but then nobody validated that in the real world how accurate they are. So we are looking for that kind of sophisticated algorithms and AI and machine learning. Those are the areas we're looking for to really bring that model accuracy, to bring that kind of predictability. And then we have to generate probably like hundreds and thousands of targetable drug candidates as a focus so that we can narrow it down to those one or two things that can really work in the real world. So that is the focus that we are looking at from the biotech.
Thanks. Saeed. Prakash, if you want to.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a challenge everybody's facing, right? This thing is coming like a tsunami. Every day there is new technology, new innovation happening all around us. And it's not up to us to choose it or ignore. If you don't do a smart decision on that, you'll be out of business soon, right? So one of the things we have done in Trimble and we continue to do is we realized a while back that this change, whether it's cloud, AI, autonomy, whatever, it's not something we can do everything. So for a lot of companies, even at Trimble as a company, we did everything. We did the hardware, we did the software, we did the whole. It was a one-player ecosystem in a way, right? So from there to shift into and figure out how do we exist in an ecosystem and how do you pick what you're good at and do just that and leave the rest to to somebody else. So for example, we did a partnership with Microsoft for some of the basic cloud and platform technologies. And so we are working with Microsoft to build 3 industrial clouds for construction, agriculture, and transportation. And in the process also we have taken steps to see where we need to do the core of innovation in the markets that we understand and get help from other people. Like, for example, WinWire helped us in moving some of the legacy applications to the cloud. So learning to exist in an ecosystem and picking and doing innovative work in the areas that you are really good at, the markets that you understand. In Trimble's case, that is the deep knowledge of the vertical markets we are in. For somebody else, it may be something else, right? And we don't do basic research. So because innovation can come from, you can have sustaining innovation, disruptive innovation, you can basic research. We don't do basic research, but we do basic research in some very narrow area like GNSS. So that's our core, the positioning system. So if you go read some of the old patents and even the new one, there's a lot of patents that Trimble has on the positioning system. So we pick and choose and be smart and play in the ecosystem with others and learn to coexist. I think that's, in my view, an important thing.
Very good points, Ganesh.
Yeah, from our company perspective, Neo being a new brand, it's a player, as you know, the automobile industry or the smart EV industry is extremely crowded industry. The leading players, they are emerging players. We want to be the winner. So in that traditionally you focus on the product, then the user experiences. And we just reverse that order. What we do is put the user in the middle and then define the user experiences. If you do that, then the product will be automatically bought. So what are some of the things that we have done using innovation and the technology? One good example that just came to my mind is, how quickly can we get the user feedback loop into the management, right? Take an example. Let's say airline industry. All of us, we fly a lot. Typically, when we reach the destination, be it your home or your hotel, you get a survey. How many of us actually respond to the survey? Probably one, mostly zero.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice if we can give that, technology exists. Conversational AI is there. It's not an afterthought. It's already here and matured. So we said, how can we capture that using technology and the innovation? So we created an innovation and put it inside the car, inside our car. It's called Nomi, spelled as N-O-M-I. It's a voice assistant, digital assistant. It's not like Alexa, Cortana, or Siri. So the idea was that when you are feeling the product, when you are at the moment, you can talk to Nomi and then provide your feedback. The moment Nomi says, I got your issue or I got your enhancement request, the product management as well as the core engineering VPs, they already know what the customer wanted. So the emerging companies, the real emphasis should be on how fast can you get the user feedback and then close that feedback quickly into products and services. They will buy more than that, right? That has been the focus as opposed to being profitability numbers. They are important for the CFO, but mainly for any new brand, whether it's a software technology, hardware, products, consumer, doesn't matter. User experiences, that has to be the main focus. Then the products will be sold, the CFOs will be happy. That has been our approach.
Yeah. Just adding to some of this thinking there, if you look into the biotech space, the complexity of the disease itself, how it manifests, to really narrow down which of those are causing the actual disease and how to really put those algorithms and how the scientists can have a real front end that they can actually pick and choose that kind of data sets and then really prepare the data for that kind of insights. That has been a challenge in many of the biotechs today, to really create that kind of models, to really develop those citizen data scientists that we are looking for some ideas. So definitely if there is something out there that can really accelerate that kind of discovery. Because we are working on it, but then there is no real straightforward solution right there. So that is something that we are struggling.
Again, I think we can continue on that topic. I think but I do want to come back and touch upon the third area, which is the business models. I want to get some of the inputs. I think changing business model, innovative business models have been around, and they're continuously new ones coming up and accelerating, in my view. Would love to hear a little bit more. I know this is something that you guys experience it all the time. Ganesh, if you want to start out talking to us a little bit about it, that would be great.
Absolutely. Usually the business model, from my perspective, innovation comes from the technology innovation. Technology drives the business process, and then the CEOs and the product managers to think innovatively. In the case of electric vehicles, now California governor has said by 2035, no new cars will be internal combustion engine. Everything will be electrification. The first thing comes to anyone's mind is about the range anxiety and the battery regulation for electric cars. So fundamentally, we took a different approach. In countries like United States, Europe, for that matter, where less population density as compared to countries like China, India, and others, where it's much more population density. How do we drive the adoption of those products into consumers' hands? We want more consumers to buy this smart EVs to drive that and fight against the climate change initiatives. So we said, how do we solve the problem? So we thought about having a holistic, I call it as a power replenishment services, chargeable, swappable, and upgradable, end-to-end power replenishment services. So thereby you are giving more option to the consumers to drive these smart EVs. So NIO has pioneered, by the way, we have over 12 plus million successful battery swaps have been done to date, over 1,400 unique approved patents. So the point I'm trying to make here is that innovation in technology, the battery swapping, has created a completely brand new business model called battery as a service. Nobody thought about that buying a car without a battery. It's like buying an internal combustion engine without a motor in the front. Nobody in the humankind has thought about that. It is possible now, right? So that technology advancement created the new business model. So happy to say we have more than 80% take rate for that kind of a line of business there. It would not have been even possible if there was no disruption in the technology that drove the business models.
Very true. Yeah. That's great. Very interesting one, Prakash, if you have.
Sure, yeah. I think, again, I think there's books written on this about, if you don't respond to disruption and change your business model, you die,
Yep.
Professor Christensen wrote the famous book about that. And we are seeing that every day. And there's some of the good stories that you can see here in the Valley itself. Adobe, for example, the company changed their model completely because the subscription software became the norm. And gone are the days when you would buy a Photoshop for $500 or what Microsoft did with Word or Office, right? So we have done the similar things, responded the same way because otherwise, we in our transportation business, for example, in the old days, everybody in the business shipped a sensor for X number of dollars and then sold, $1 million license over 3 years. People started seeing companies that pay a monthly subscription, so they don't have to do huge capital outlay. So we had to change, and you cannot just change the business model without changing the underlying technology. So you have to change the technology, change the business model, adapt, otherwise you go out of business. There are a number of examples of those companies that did not do that, and you all know that, so I don't want to take those names. So.
I think you're absolutely right. The whole world is moving as a service model.
Yeah,
that's
right. If you don't think in those lines, I think you will die. You're absolutely right.
Before we wrap up, I just want to quickly ask Sai to add on to it as well. I know we are over time.
Yeah, so what is happening in our area is, there's so much publications come on the research and discovery, and our business development alliance management will be reading massive amounts of data to make those suggestions and insights into what is the next thing we need to do. In that aspect, we actually automated that kind of extraction from different sources by giving some key business words to the groups so that the business user can actually input some of those keywords, and then it actually compiles the messages to be read quickly from massive data sources so that they can take the decisions quicker. So to Ganesh's point, we actually look into that business process modeling, right, so that we can put technology on top of it and really produce an agile structure. So thank you.
Great. Well, I want to say thank you to Prakash, Ganesh, and Sai for a very interesting conversation. I know we can keep going on this, but I think we are running late. So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys doing it. And folks, I would say again, we will be here. If you have any more questions, please come back and talk to us over there. But thank you very much.
Thank you.